could be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
Areelu looks as though she's able... Areelu looks as though she's about to collapse, but she does her best to remain upright. As a scientist myself, I can feel that, kinda. And you're proud of things you create. Not the thing about powerful enemies, I'm not that kind of scientist. It's easy to shoot you. I can see you, Sucha. Show yourself.
I've been waiting for you to get distracted, so I can stab you in the back.
Hey, I saved you. Sucha appears from hiding and looks at you balefully. Stop, Areelu. Listen to me. You called me a failed experiment. What if you're wrong?
I would be overjoyed to discover that I am wrong. I tried to hope, even though there was no hope left. But wait, why do you care? Why are you trying to change my mind?
I want to know. I want to follow the truth, no matter where it leads.
That thirst for truth and knowledge, that is so familiar.
For just a moment, the insane light in Areelu's eyes gives way to curiosity.
But what makes you think I will listen to your arguments? I have gone too far to turn back. I must walk the path I have chosen.
And now all the little things we did come into play. I know you're not as mad or fixated on your goals as you'd like others to believe, or, for that matter, as you'd like to believe. I know that you care for Sucha. Your ridiculous minion means something to you. We're concerned about him.
Says you.
Mumbles the Sucha, glancing over at his mistress simply.
You think I'm wrong about you? Why? We are not talking about numbers, equations, and magical reactions. This is about the soul, about whether or not you have what I lost.
Oh, the patch made everyone level 1. I think that's Toybox if you have it installed. I do! But it wasn't before the patch. Mad scientists are some of the best villains. Definitely. If I was a villain, I would be the mad scientist type. Remember when you sent the Sucha to give me the crossbow loaded with a midnight bolt in Kenabres? I knew nothing of your plans, yet I already felt instinctively that the weapon was meant to be mine.
Yes, I remember. I wanted to check, to see for certain if it would awaken your instincts. I was so full of hope that day.
Areelu runs her hand over her face. So many options, I hope there are enough. You came to me disguised as Yaniel and asked me a difficult question, but I knew that I answered them correctly, the way you had hoped.
Yes, I was disguised as Yaniel. This was our first conversation face to face. I was desperate. I needed to know who you were, to understand what you were. I wanted to find out if there was anything about you I recognized.
See, and there are more and more things you recognize. In Nocticula's palace, you offered me power, but I was more interested in discovering the truth.
You hungered for knowledge. You desired the truth more than anything else.
Seems to be quite the theme both about her and her son. As you're talking, something changes almost imperceptibly in Areelu's gaze and posture. She listens to you more attentively, sometimes a slight frown, and at other times with an expression that could almost be mistaken for curiosity. When we talked together in the secret part of your laboratory, you asked me quite a few questions. It was like you were testing me. Did I pass?
Yes. I wanted to see if something would stir within you when you met my son's murderer, and when you encountered the one who betrayed me. But it doesn't matter.
Interesting.
I asked questions, you answered them, and I thought I could hear the echoes of the past in your voice.
The interesting thing is that we were merciful. We released them both. But Still, it seems to have been correct. I used the summoning circle to defeat the monsters in your laboratory.
And the vial of summoning formula. The same formula my son borrowed for his own experiments. He always loved summoning. Always.
Yay, we are also a mad scientist.
That's enough. I can see now. It was naive of me to think I could just revive my son the way he was before his death. But there is so much of him in you. So much of me. I can't think of you as anything but my child.
Oh. Areelu covers the face with her hands. Her voice is a low whisper. I mean, especially if sometimes just part of the soul, well, kind of survives or remains untouched after Pharasma's judgment. I mean, it sounds like something that could happen, right? That if you merge the souls, it is just kind of a mix of both or something, or that just some parts get transferred over?
I have wandered in the dark for so long. But now I finally see clearly. I know how my path must end. The wound still erodes your soul, as it does mine. Let me put an end to my creation. Let me step into the flames and perish, so that I can heal you.
That is so cool that that's possible. That choosing those options and convincing her changes her to being able to offering to sacrifice herself. Areelu gazes at you for a long moment. It's difficult to read her emotions, but then her crimson eyes grows bright. She looks at you with renewed purpose. I'm sure there's another answer. Just hear me out. If we work together, we might be able to find another way to close the wound. Is that the secret ending? 5 minutes
All
pass.
these years, I've been playing a game with mortals and forces beyond mortal comprehension. But now I am a pawn in your game. I do not know your next move. I can't even imagine what plan you have in mind. So explain it to me. One step at a time.
Yeah, that's really cool. The story was so well done. It is, and the whole character of Areelu, her methods, her ideas, her agenda, it's mind-blowing. I love it. Areelu peers into the violet flames for a while, lost in thought. Okay, we once again have quite a few ones. I hope they are enough. The main plot is very nice. It is. I really loved it. That's why I played not the hardest mode, cause I wasn't too fond at times of the gameplay. But I really loved the story and the characters. This is my first playthrough, but my brother played it and he wrote me cause I asked like some things I have to, or he watched over my playthrough and told me what things I have to do for the secret ending, cause it was like there's not that much that you have to change. There was, I think, just one thing I had to change to get there. Oh, and the time arriving at threshold, he was like, you have to go there at this time, which was very odd because I never heard anything in game about hinting that that time is special. Anyway, rather spoiler. He just told me that there's a secret ending, nothing more. Anyway, I've deciphered your notes on the Lexicon of Paradox and know that this mythic power is supposed to protect both of us from death. But the power has its limits. Do you think we already reached them?
I see I was right to leave the lexicon in a place where you could find it. Yes, that is correct. We've reached the limits of our power. I did so long ago, and you've realized your full potential only recently. Mythic power cannot be made any stronger. At least, I have not been able to do so successfully. That means we are now living on borrowed time, counting down the days until we die from the wound's influence.
Not the best perspective. Yeah, the Nihindrian crystals would be my best guess. We received our mythic power from the Nihindrian crystals, but the crystals mined in the depths of the Midnight Isle are not the only ones that exist. The freshly shed blood of a demon lord wounded by a midnight bolt will also form into a crystal. Have you tried extracting mythic power from the crystals created in that way?
No, I have not. I haven't had the chance.
Ooh,
It was in
interesting.
Kenabres that I had my first chance to test the improved version of the Midnight Bolts against the demon lord Deskari. The crystal dagger you found in Kenabres was the first Nihindrian crystal that was procured in such a fashion.
I didn't know that.
I gather that you know more about them than I do.
But we analyzed them. It's interesting that the dagger we had all that time is also a crystal, but of course makes sense. Of course it's demon blood. I've studied the notes and papers that I found hidden in a secret part of your laboratory. You believe that the Worldwound works both ways, that it has the same impact on the adjacent areas of the Abyss as it does on the lands of Golarion.
Yes, I am sure that
mixing.
is the case. I have evidence from my experiments. The wound affects the material plane, poisoning it with the corruption of the Abyss. But it also affects the Abyss, bringing in a small amount of order and harmony from the material plane.
But what does that change?
The only reason it is not as apparent in the Abyss is the presence of the Demon Lords. They hold near infinite power over their realms, and their existence staves off the wound's influence.
You know, the Sword of Valor changed when it came into contact with me, and I believe that's a sign. The same relic changed on Iomede's influence when she was on the path to godhood. It's as if the sword could foresee her ascension.
Yes, indeed. The Sword of Valor was
that's a new
Iomede's
one,
banner
yes.
before she passed the test of the Starstone and ascended to heaven. I've never studied the Sword of Valor. Perhaps I should have. It is a truly
And that's why we need
fascinating
the
artifact,
crusade mode.
and the way it interacts with you is incredible. Could it have picked up the early signs of your nascent divinity? I do not know.
Ah, interesting. I expected a battle and now it's a science class. I love it. Now, let's put it all together. It's fair to assume that mythic power has a limit, but there's also always a way to push boundaries of what's possible. And we have a way to do that, through the power of a Nihindrian crystal. But it can't just be any Nihindrian crystal. It must be a crystal crafted from the blood of a recently slain demon lord, and that demon lord's realm needs to be in contact with the Worldwound. Oh, I hope that we can use the one from Areelu, for example, as well.
It's unpredictable and dangerous, but all bold plans carry risk. What you propose might work.
How many do we have?
Whoever absorbs the power of a newly killed demon lord will inherit their realm in the Abyss. If we throw in a connection to the wound,
Four?
we will end up with something unique. You will have the power of a demigod and an abyssal realm that changes at your whim.
Could we transform an abyssal realm into something nice? Like into our Azata realm or something? How many crystals do we have? We have a dagger from Deskari, with another one from Deskari, we have one from Areelu, and one from Baphomet, so we have 4. So that should be more than enough, right?
Yes, your plan might work. I see no reason we shouldn't at least try. But how? There are only 3 demon lords whose realms are tied to the wound. Baphomet, Deskari, and Nocticula. I doubt we'd be able to carry out a cunning murder of the Lady of Cunning and Murder. As for Baphomet and Deskari, after the lessons you've taught them, they will never risk another engagement. They'll engage in clever maneuvers. They'll hide, but they won't face you in battle.
Ah, and for that we need the dialogue with Hafsimira. That is one of the few things my brother told me we need for the secret ending, so that we know that an archpriest can summon the demon lord. Ah, it's so nice. And also so oddly specific to meet the requirements. I learned a secret from Hafsimira. The archpriest of a demon lord can summon their master in a moment of danger, and they are bound to appear. We could lure out Baphomet and Deskari. Especially because Areelu was second in command for both, right? And the Echo of Deskari died, and Hefzimira died, so Areelu is the Archpriest of both. Also, basically, according to Pathfinder lore, it's having a realm that makes you a demon lord, power-wise. Ah, okay. Interesting. I think in D&D it's kind of the other way around. It's always nice to see more about Pathfinder lore, because I'm quite new to that. I just know like bits and pieces.
They are bound to appear? I didn't know that. No wonder demon lords are so careful about choosing archpriests.
Ha, and see. Killed that. The Echo of Deskari is dead. You are 1 second to him within the hierarchy. That means you're now the Archpriestess of Deskari.
Correct. And the Locust Lord still hasn't deprived me of his favor. He should have done that a long, long time ago.
Interesting that you need apparently both. We can't continue with one. We have to call both. You were second to Hefzimira, but now she's dead. That makes you the new Archpriestess of Baphomet.
Yes, it is true.
Areelu's enjoying
Baphomet
this.
outsmarted himself when he granted me power and patronage behind Deskari's back.
So, both Baphomet and Deskari were killed recently. They returned to life, but now they are in their mortal forms. But we can fight them and kill them again. Their realms will no longer be under their power and influence. So we can steal them. Do we need 2 realms because it's us and Areelu? Is that like a partner effort?
And I could summon them.
You want to let
No, it's
Areelu
still
ascend?
too much of a risk. The world wound is more than a rift. It has a life of its own. To accomplish the plan you have conceived, we would need to channel an immense current of power through it, all the way to the realms of the demon lords. It would be 100 times more difficult than simply closing the wound.
And for that we need the specific dates. I'm just surprised I didn't see that. Maybe I missed a book or something. I've studied the records kept by the Stargates of Golura, and I know there are certain days when the influence of the wound is at its strongest.
It's remarkable that the worshippers of
So
Golura
many
were
things
able
coming
to discern
together.
this. Yes, you are correct. Such days do exist, but they occur very rarely. Only once or twice a century at most.
Ooh, interesting that the requirement is just the day, though, then, and not the year. Ah, that's insane. I have to thank my brother for both telling me the days and the thing about Hefzimira. Today is one such day. I made sure to arrive at Threshold at precisely the right time.
I can't run the full calculations right now, but I think you're right. This is the day when the wound is most malleable. We could shape it as easily as a master potter molds soft clay.
Areelu takes off her fingers, gets something up in her head, and then nods in amazement. It's such a daring plan, I love it. Did you spend next day for like a whole year to reach the correct date? No, I looked up ways to change the day. And edited the save. Because I didn't want to spam next day. So, what are you waiting for? Summon Baphomet and Deskari. The time has come for mortals to challenge the lords of the Abyss, and we will surpass them in every way.
I have one final question for you. Do you have a new Nahindrian crystal in your possession?
We do.
Without one, this whole plan is doomed. Unless, of course, you happen to have a midnight bolt. If so, we can procure a crystal right now.
We have both. We can do more crystals. Maybe we can use them for something. I'm a proud next day spammer. I appreciate... I appreciate that. Like... Yeah, that's... decisiveness. And conviction. I have a Nahindrian crystal that was recently created.
Then let us begin. I do love interesting challenges.
Oh, this is probably the most daring experiment you ever did, I guess. Really slowly rolls out the sleeves of her gown. There's a gleam in her eyes, a slight sparkle of amusement.
Deskari, Lord of the Locust Host, Areelu Vorlesh calls to you, as I once called before from within these very walls. I am the first of your servants, and I summon you.
Are those bats?
Come!
Are those bats, or are those also imps, or...
Baphomet, Lord of Beasts and Labyrinths, heed the voice of Areelu the Witch. You accepted me into the ranks of your servants, and I summon you now as the first among them. Come! 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 Come!
Areelu repeats the summons again and again. Her words of power echo through the air and pass through the thresholds, and her call does not go unanswered. They look like bugs to me.
How curious. The
Gosh,
Nats
too.
have decided to set a trap for me. You have spun out your betrayal like an intricate web, but it will take more than that to bring down the hunger of the Abyss.
Okay, so now we're fighting 2 demon lords at the same time? Oh boy.
First, my daughter failed me. And now my chosen mortal favorite does the same. Areelu, do you not see that this alliance with your mortal creation will give you nothing? You could have served the greatest of masters, yet you chose to be the puppet of your own creation.
I think you both are going down.
Enough, Baphomet! You are wasting your time on words when the time for words has long passed. We shall fight those who have challenged us and obliterate them. Deskari has spoken.
It's going to be tricky to midnight ball them so they immediately explode. Oh yes, but it worked with Deskari earlier in Threshold. Both of you pose a threat to Golarion, and therefore, you must die.
You are correct. I am a threat. And once
Not
I'm
much
finished
longer.
with you, my scythe will sweep across your world, starting with the allies you've brought here.
You believe yourselves to be our masters. You think you will be our doom. But you've never been anything more than a source of power. We will drain this source to the last drop.
What an epic battle with the Worldwound in the middle. Okay. Areelu on our side? Ew, that's not good. I mean, it is good, but it will be, yeah, as you said, it will be hard to do the midnight ball thing. Okay. We are gonna distract our party by just sending them here. Logan, we're going to go use one of those. Attack. Can you shoot that far? Ah, apparently. And you as well. Okay, and I hope this is going to work. Oh, that worked. The other one? Ah, it worked. We definitely used one of those midnight balls. Nice.